My name is Russ Walsh, Executive Wildlife Director for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks. The following video tutorial is how to collect chronic wasting disease tissue samples for testing. For our conservation partners who will be utilizing this video, we hope you find it informative and useful, and we thank you for your help and sample collection efforts.
This deer was collected as a part of the CWD response operation, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how to collect tissue samples. Specifically, the tissues I want to collect are the medial retropharyngeal lymph nodes and the obex, which is a part of the brainstem. The only tool required for CWD sampling is a sharp knife, but it may be helpful to have a scalpel and a pair of forceps, and always remember to wear gloves. The first thing I want to do when I collect the sample is to detach the head from the neck at the point where the last vertebra meets the skull. It helps if you have a little bit of leverage to do this, so I'm going to use this tailgate, but you can use a block if you need to. And it's also a little easier to perform on a full carcass. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take my fingers and find the jaw line, and I want to make my incision about a ½ inch behind the jaw line and follow it directly to the spine. Once I reach the spine, I want to take my knife and angle it on each side of the spine and go straight like I'm going right through the center of the ears or the back of the ears. After I've made that cut, I should be able to just break it right in two as I cut. Once I broke the head away from the spine, I'm going to be looking at the brainstem, which is where the obex is located. You can use a sharp knife to collect the obex, but it's a little easier to use a scalpel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to work my way around it. And then use a little leverage to make my last cut. After I've collected the obex, I'm going to collect the lymph nodes. So we want to locate the esophagus, and the lymph nodes will be located one on each side in this area. One here and one here. It can be helpful to use your fingers if you can't see them to find exactly where they are. And then I'm going to cut around them. Oftentimes the lymph nodes will be just behind these black colored nodules. And I cut through a little bit of membranous tissue and I can see it. These lymph nodes will be kidney shaped and kind of grayish in color. Next, I'm going to collect the other one, which is just on the other side. Occasionally when you make your cut, you may cut a lymph node in half. That's okay, just collect both sides. Other times you may not cut in close enough, so when you make your cut you may not be able to see them. Usually you just have to cut a little bit inward and they'll be right in there. So after we collected our sample, it's important that we dispose of the carcass properly. There are two ways of doing that. One is deep burial and the other one is taking it to a certified landfill. In that case, what I want to do is double bag it in a trash bag. After we double bagged our sample, the next thing we want to do is clean our tools. And the appropriate way to do that is to soak them for at least 4 hours in a solution of 50% bleach and 50% water. After you've collected your sample, you need to make sure that you store it in an appropriate container. This could be a formalin-filled vial or something as simple as a sealable plastic bag. If you store your sample in a sealable plastic bag, you need to make sure that you keep it cool on ice or frozen until the time of submission. A biological sample tag should also accompany each sample. In the upper right-hand corner of a biological sample tag, there'll be a unique identifying number. Each sample should be labeled with this number using a permanent marker. Then you can fill out the contact information of the hunter or landowner, the property where it was collected, some basic information about the sex and age of the animal, any symptoms the animal might have had, the name of the sample collector, and GPS coordinates of the location where the sample was collected. After that, you can tear off the top of the sample at the perforated edge, and it's important that this upper portion accompany your sample at the time of submission. The bottom half of the sample can be kept for your records.
To our conservation partners, we hope you found this informative and useful. If you have further questions about the video or chronic wasting disease, feel free to contact us at 601-432-2199 or online at mdwfp.com/CWD. We thank you for your support and your efforts as we move forward on the conservation front.